So after reading the video title, you may be wondering how video games can possibly help in combating procrastination, when for many people, they're one of the indulgences which feed procrastination. Well, I'll explain. Many will be familiar with this experience. If you're watching this video, you're probably one of them. You've got a piece of work that needs doing, but you just can't bring yourself to start, finding any excuse to avoid it. You may have told yourself you'll start after breakfast, but instead end up on YouTube, playing a video, and then another, and then, what's one more? You'll start right after this next one. But then you end up watching more, or finding something else to do that either satiates your instant gratification impulse, or sometimes gets other chores done that are less important. All these activities you use to delay the priority work spiral into what can seem like an inescapable sinkhole of procrastination, sucking you in and dragging you down further and further away from your goals. Wasted hours turn into wasted days and weeks, and then, at the extreme end, wasted months and maybe even years. You'll no doubt be desperate to shake off this propensity for procrastination, feeling shame and panic for all the important things you are not getting done. It holds you back, stops you progressing professionally and personally, makes you feel stuck in a mud of your own making. This is an experience I am very much familiar with. I'm frequently wrestling procrastination and trying to develop habits and techniques to gradually overpower and subdue the procrastination demon which possesses me. I've experimented with a number of ways to do this, all having varying degrees of success, but a recent new approach has reaped some interesting rewards, and has in fact led to increased productivity, helping me yank a chain around the neck of that damn procrastination demon. So I recently developed a new method designed to help subvert my tendency towards procrastination. It's a system for laying out a bulk of highest priority tasks and working through them in a way that grants you rewards for completing the tasks. It's a task completion game, essentially. I came up with it when playing Ghost of Tsushima, and in fact, the task completion game is modelled directly off the structure of open world video games such as this. With this new approach, I have attempted to implement a similar kind of reward and achievement system as is utilised in these video games for completing real-world tasks. Really, I've tried to formulate this new game in such a way that it turns real-world tasks into what could be compared to missions in a video game. While playing Ghost of Tsushima, I was enjoying surveying the progress on my map to see which missions were left over and how much territory I'd reclaimed. It's satisfying to regard the progress made in the game via this map graphic, which provides a simple representation of how far you have come in the game, how much you have achieved, and how much left there is for you to do. I decided to use the same format of game map for my real-world missions, or tasks, as a way to organise them perceptually into a game framework, lending them added connotations of fun to balance out any negative feeling of embarking upon them as chores. The map is filled with a variety of tasks, all falling into different tiers. There are many large, important tasks requiring a lot of time and attention. There are other tasks which, while still important, won't require as much time to complete, and there are also mystery tasks. These mystery tasks are whatever I choose at the time. They can be anything, including things I previously had no immediate plan for. In a way, this inclusion utilises the classic tendency people often have to tackle smaller or less pressing tasks as an excuse to delay taking on the bigger jobs they are daunted by. It adds structure to this tendency which would otherwise take the shape of a form of procrastination, and brings it into the same space as the main priority tasks you have to take on. The categories are no longer separate, but all part of the same game, so completing these smaller tasks can be viewed as a stepping stone to reaching the bigger ones, rather than something which gets in the way of them. Each of the tasks are placed in a position on the map, accompanied by a small representative icon, such as a film strip for video editing, a play button for YouTube uploads, or a question mark for mystery tasks. When a task is completed, it's ticked off the map. I deliberately use large ticks which cover the tasks up and stand out prominently, so it's instantly obvious how much map territory has been conquered. But it's not just the map layout which I've carried over from video games. I've also implemented a reward system for completing tasks on the map. Originally, one task completed granted me the privilege of playing one YouTube video. 2 tasks meant 2 videos, and 3 allowed me a film to watch. I also allow myself to store up these achievements if I don't want to use them immediately, so I can complete 6 tasks over a couple of days and then watch 2 films in one day if I want to, for example. Now, I say this was originally the case because I did actually end up modifying this achievement system, scrapping the YouTube allowances, and keeping only the film allowances. It just seemed to work better. Of course, bespoke reward systems can be generated for anyone playing this game. Different incentives and reward thresholds will be appropriate for different people, and it's important to implement a system that will actually be workable, and strike the right balance of keeping you motivated to take on your tasks while not overwhelming you with the quantity and scale of completing tasks required to achieve the smallest rewards on your reward scale. Including these rewards has provided a novel incentive structure, which has added to that of the already existent prospect of mere satisfaction of completing the tasks, and getting the natural rewards which come from that. Because we all know, even though those natural rewards are worth it, they don't always incentivize us to break free of the spell of procrastination. They're perhaps too intangible to wield such motivational power consistently. Organising the tasks into this map layout has also been enjoyable because it has allowed me to move laterally around my task landscape. There's more of a sense of freedom to it than a linear list format. I found that when collating a list of tasks to be completed in order, the linear mandates this imposes can induce a wave of procrastination, and I often don't end up moving past a certain list item that is particularly daunting. Being able to move around my tasks as if I'm exploring an open world landscape of game missions helps alleviate this problem. The mystery tasks were a favourite inclusion. They have led to me doing productive things that I had no immediate plans for beforehand. So that's been satisfying. And they're actually fun to select, because I don't know what the task will be until I've decided upon it, and it can be as minimal as I want, as long as it's not merely a routine thing that I'd do anyway. It has to be something which it's beneficial to do, but wouldn't have been done for a long time, if ever, if not for this game. Completing a smaller, easier task can also help you work up to attempting the bigger ones, because the completion of a small, simple, yet productive and useful task will grant you that pleasing dopamine hit as a reward for the minor triumph. You'll be more inclined to seek such a hit again, and thus you will become more incentivized to tackle another task, and then another. You can take on slightly bigger tasks each time until reaching the most challenging, by which time you'll be more equipped and oriented towards completing it. Now, while I'm most of the way through my current task map, I haven't yet finished it. So there is also a grand mystery prize which I can unlock by completing all the tasks on the map, essentially completing the game. It's a mystery prize because I actually don't know what it is myself, which, in many ways, makes it more compelling and alluring, knowing that I get to choose some grand allowance for myself once I've completed all the tasks. But it's not only a mystery prize because I haven't decided what I'll choose for it yet. It's also a mystery because I don't know what unforeseen benefits may result from it. Of course, I'll get the satisfaction of completing the game and tasks. I know what that feels like already, although not in this specific context because I've never done this before. But once all my tasks, some of them fairly substantial professional ones, are completed, I don't know what beneficial propulsion forward that may grant me. It may be negligible, and the main reward I get from it is satisfaction, and the grand prize I'll choose for myself. But I don't know yet. That mystery is an added force which tempts me forward in its own right. In fact, playing this game has already led to increased productivity and new rewards resulting in the form of making this video. So that validates my hypothesis for the offshoot benefits of this game. Before playing the game, I wouldn't have had this content produced from it. Another thing which is beneficial about this game is that it utilises another method of productivity I recently became aware of. One method for getting things done is to break them down into small chunks so that the overall endeavour doesn't seem too daunting. For example, if you have to clean a messy room, set yourself the goal of taking out one piece of rubbish a day. This makes the task seem far less overwhelming and gets it done over a long period of time, rather than it not getting done at all. This principle can be formulated into making a small list of tasks to do per day, and can actually work very well. But the problem can sometimes arise of those individual small tasks also ending up being procrastinated over because they seem like they won't take very long. and you don't really want to do them anyway, or are still daunted by the prospect of doing them sufficiently. So you think you can wait until the end of the day to take them on, and then just end up not doing them. The alternate method for productivity I mentioned is doing the opposite of this, i.e. loading yourself up with a huge amount of tasks, too many to complete in one day perhaps. The reason for doing this is that this enormous perceptual map of tasks puts more pressure on you, or incentivizes you more to get some of them done, because there are so many tasks spread across your perceptual map of the present and future that they overwhelm or obscure the prospect of doing other things which would constitute procrastination. There's so much to get done that you feel compelled to at least do some of it, so even if you don't manage to complete all these tasks you've set for yourself, you're more likely to get some of them, perhaps even a lot of them, done. I don't think this is a good long-term strategy. However, it can be useful over a limited period, and thus it can be confined to preset limitations by integrating it into the game. Integrating it into the game is also beneficial because it makes use of both methods mentioned, if you formulate the game in the appropriate way. I.e., you can fill your game map with different tiers of tasks. Some will be simple, and some will be the bigger endeavours which will take longer, and some will be the mystery tasks mentioned earlier, incentivising you to do a piece of work you didn't even have any plans for before, or that you'd planned to postpone until all your more prioritised tasks were complete. Doing these mystery tasks makes for a satisfying, surprising reward, because you end up completing some work you didn't even know you were going to start beforehand. So essentially, the game utilises both methods of minimal tasks for a day and loading up on as many tasks as possible, because the map is filled with all these different tiers of task and you can pick and choose which you do whenever you want to do them, just like completing missions in an open world game. The two production methods are integrated into one system by doing this, meaning you get to make use of the virtues of both. In open world video games, there are almost always those individual missions that are really hard and you don't want to do, so you just leave them until you've done all the other easier missions around them first. But you still want to tackle those hard missions eventually, so that you can progress through the game and reach the next stage. This task completion game appeals to the same principle. If there is one or several big, daunting tasks you don't want to start, you can do all the smaller, easier tasks on the map first. In a video game, it's satisfying to tick things off the map and encroach on new territory until eventually completing every mission. You actually want to finish the game so that you can tick everything off and move on to a new one. The same thing applies with this task completion game. Ultimately, this is a new thing to try. Who knows if the approach will be workable long term? But so far, it's produced beneficial results and has been worth trying. Anyway, what do you think? Do you struggle with procrastination? And if so, do you think something like this would help you? Do you have any alternate methods of dealing with the problem, which others might find useful? Have you forced that demon into submission? Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe for more videos like this, and others about other stuff too. And click the bell end to receive alerts of when the next video is posted. Thanks for watching, see you next time.